Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley is brought to you by Aggressive Marketing Solutions, your solution for all business social media needs. If you need a team of social media marketers and content creators to help you build your brand on social media, text WES 2020 to 541-709-6502 today. Get started building your brand on social media. Success is defined differently by every individual. Some have never even considered what it is. I hope when I get older I'll be successful. What does that even mean? Money? Cars? Big house? On this show, we strive to look at it a little deeper, learning from successful individuals on what they believe success really is and how to obtain it. Everybody, enjoy the show. This is Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley.
Hello and welcome to Shaping Success. I'm your host, Wes Tankersley. This is episode 19 of the Shaping Success podcast. And today our guest will be Tyler Heid. And I wanted to say welcome to the show, Tyler.
Hey, thank you so much, Wes.
And I'm sorry I pronounced your name wrong. It's Heid, not Heid. Very sorry about that.
Heid. Oh, no, you're good. Yeah. It's spelled like Heid.
So, yeah. Well, Tyler, I'm glad to have you on here. I watched your episode that you had with my friend Christian, and it was very interesting. I don't want to go through and explain the whole story because I want you to do that, because I think that there's so much that you have to cover. There's so much motivational things going on in your life, and it's exciting to have you on here. So rather than just go through this list of things, let's talk a little bit about where you're from, who you are, and things like that. And then we'll get into kind of some of the adversity and things like that you've gone through and worked through and been successful.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'm originally from Seattle, but then I went to high school in Arizona, and I was a big baseball player. Ended up getting a scholarship to pitch at BYU in Utah. And thought that was kind of my future, was playing baseball, being an athlete. And, as you know, Wes, being a baseball guy yourself, life throws curveballs at you. So we have curveballs come every once in a while. And about a year after I was finished playing at BYU, I actually had health problems while I was playing, but I was diagnosed with MS. And so you can't see right now. I don't know if you can see, but I'm sitting in a wheelchair right now, so I don't walk around very well. The left side of my body is pretty much numb. It's doesn't work very well, and so I have a hard time walking. I have a hard time grabbing anything with my left hand, doing anything with my left hand, all of that stuff. So I was diagnosed with MS, and that was about 12 and a half years ago. Was a high school teacher for 8 years, and then I decided to, not really decided, just felt like I needed to do something different, and went back to school and became an attorney, went back to law school, and then after law school, mainly became an entrepreneur, business owner, doing some business stuff. So that's a little bit about my story.
So let's back up a little bit and talk about... Well, I kind of want to back up a little bit. So now that we kind of know where you're at and kind of what you've been through, I want to talk a little bit about mindset and things like that, because I think that going from being a athlete and having this career path that you talked about, and then finding out something that, was kind of derailed that, I want to know how you worked through that. What was your first thoughts? Because I know that you probably had a few negative thoughts about what was going on. Why did this happen to me? Why is this going through that? How did you deal with it when you first found out, when you first started having these problems when you were pitching in college?
Yeah, it was hard. When I was in college, I started having a lot of health problems, a lot of issues with my eyes and different things. And of course, your first reaction when that kind of stuff happens is you ask, well, why me? Why am I the unlucky one? Why does this have to happen to me? And so it takes a long time. It takes a lot. It's hard to fight off the depression and the I never was depressed. Don't get me wrong, but the thoughts of, man, why me? Why do I have to have this battle or this hardship or whatever? So, yeah, and then it's all a matter of, okay, now I've got to really change course. I've got to switch gears on to what my as far as what my plans were, and do something
Yeah.
else.
So, is there anything kind of like growing up that, because obviously, like for me, what really motivates me now was sports. As you know, I
Yeah.
obviously I have these jerseys back here, but I coached baseball for 5 years. I taught well. I was taught as well as a high school teacher as well, but just didn't find happiness in that. So I kind of switched gears last year. But what drove me to have that mindset that I was going to be a hard worker, that I was going to battle through it and do that. Where did that come from for you? Where did you get that? Because it doesn't just come exactly from, it comes from within, but it's something that someone had to taught you. Is there someone who influenced you to think that way, or is it just kind of your own thing?
Yeah, I can't pinpoint one person, but I've had lots of mentors and influences on my life. But really, I would say it's more of a spiritual thing, more of a faith thing. Having faith in a kind of a greater purpose, and knowing that even with despite the challenges, things are going to work out. And I'm really big on kind of finding your purpose and understanding that there's a bigger purpose for things. And so it took me a long time, but it took me a long time to realize that I could have an impact even with MS, and I can influence people and have a kind of show that greater purpose in my life. But yeah, I can't really pinpoint one person, but I'd say I could probably list 20 people that have
Okay.
influenced my life, and that kind of stuff. Lots of mentors and family members and all that stuff, right? So.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a really important thing. You've mentioned mentors a couple times. That's I don't know that the younger generation really understands mentorship and what it is. I think that it's great that you look at it that way, and that's kind of part of the show too, is getting that out, that there is people out there who did influence you in a certain way and taught you how to do things. It's great to have more than one though. So we get through that. So you went to, and then you graduated as a teacher. So you taught for a while, correct? And coached. Is that what came next after this?
Yeah, I taught and coached about 8 years. I was a high school teacher, and most of that I was a baseball coach also. Yeah, including being the head varsity coach. So I was like you. I was a varsity baseball coach too. So in high school.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at a little school, so it was kind of funny. I got thrown in the wrench right off the bat because I had only coached 1 year, and then I went to go teach in Marsing, and they needed a head basall coach, and I took the call, and it was very fun. So, did you enjoy that? Was that something that you would continue to pursue? And are you involved in baseball very much anymore, or can you be?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. In fact, I actually still do some private lessons. There's a kid here in my neighborhood that is a pitcher, high school pitcher, and I go out and work out with him and do some instruction with him. So I love that still. That's still a passion of mine. Baseball is always in me, as you know too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's, I wasn't great, but I loved the game more than I was a good football player. I had scholarship to play football, but baseball had always been my passion. I wish I was better at it, but I wasn't. But I love coaching it. I love being around it. I'm really having a hard time right now because I can't watch it.
Right. This is the craziest time of year, right? It's like we were all fired up and excited for baseball season, and then, man, things change real fast.
Yeah. Hopefully it comes back around. So you taught for about, you said 8 years, and then what happened after that? Sounds like you made another career change.
Yeah, I'd say that was another turning point. I decided to go to law school, so I went back to BYU where I had gotten my undergrad. That's where I played baseball at in college, and so I went back to BYU and went to law school this time around, and that was an experience because I was 33, I think 33 years old, going back to school, and hanging with the young students and all that. So it was an interesting experience. But yeah, then I became a lawyer and all that.
Yeah, I know all about that because I was kind of the same way. I worked at Les Schwab for 11 years, and after that I went back to school. It sounds like at about the same time you went back to law school and got a couple degrees in education. And so, I can relate to that with having all these younger kids in your classes and trying to keep up with them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So how long did it take? Because you said that you started having some health problems when you were in college at first, kind of out of high school. How long did MS is kind of, it progresses, right? So you probably lost motion as you went on. Were you in a wheelchair when you went back to law school, or had that not quite happened yet? Had it not made it that far?
Yeah, good question. So I wasn't quite in a wheelchair yet, but I had lost most of my function. So I was in a cane, in a cane, not in a cane. I used a cane to walk around while I was in law school. I had to get a lot of modifications for testing and stuff because of my inability to type. So they had to give me extra time to take tests and that kind of stuff. So luckily I had that. But yeah, it was something that I was battling MS during the law school.
So you got through all that, which is, it's just an amazing story because there's so much that you've gone through to get to the point where you're at. But you got through that. Obviously you had to take the bar and pass that. And then you started working as a lawyer. How long have you been doing that now? Or are you still doing that? Because I know you have some other stuff going on as well.
I'm still a licensed attorney. So that happened in 2000. It's not that long ago, 2016, beginning of 2016. So 4 years now, I've been an attorney.
So it's just such a good story. I love the fact that you went through all of this and you got there. And, one of the things that I want to talk about is the fact that you had this mindset that you could do it. I mean, I'm sure that there was times when you're like, I don't know if I want to do this or whatever, those doubts you would have. What did you keep telling yourself? How did you motivate yourself to continue doing this? The modifications are awesome. They do that, but that still doesn't help. It helps you get through it, but it still doesn't do the work. You had to do the work. What did it take to stay motivated to continue to work?
That's a really good question. I think at the time I didn't realize it. I just felt like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And I've always, you don't accomplish anything in life without it being a struggle, right? So that's probably a big part of your show, I'm sure, is that you got to go through the struggles to accomplish anything. You're not gonna just magically be super successful. And so yeah, it was hard, but I just figured I just got to get through this, and things will be better on the other end. And that's kind of how it goes, right?
Yeah, and I think that's great because I've been reading quite a bit, and one of the books that I just got through was the 10X Rule with Grant Cardone, and he talks about how people set these goals that are just easily attained, and it doesn't really feel like you've accomplished anything because you can already do it. So when you struggle, It makes you feel like you've actually accomplished something. So that's a great point.
Yeah, I agree.
So what would you tell someone who is trying to be successful? Obviously it was so much easier for someone who doesn't have those disabilities and things like that. How do you feel when you see someone who says, or what do you say to that person who's like, I'm struggling, I'm going to quit, I'm going to give up? What would be some advice you would give them?
Yeah, don't quit, right? That's the worst thing you can do. Quitting is such a bad idea, especially when you're pursuing something that is worthy, right? You have a worthy goal, you have a big dream, and I love what Chris Brady. So Chris Brady, CEO of Life, the company I work for, but Chris Brady, he says basically, quitting is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and so it's basically, you go through a struggle and then people just quit in the middle of the struggle. It's like, if you're going through hell, don't stop, right? You got to keep going, get through it, get to the other side. And yeah, that's something that motivates me is this idea of something out there in the future of accomplishing my purpose or accomplishing what it is I'm going through, having a dream and accomplishing it, those kind of things. You can't just stop. You can't just quit. You've got to get through the hard times. So quitting, like he says, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and you kind of have to restart the whole process if you quit.
Yeah, and that's great, because I think that a lot of people don't look at failure. They look at failure. Again, I'm going to quote Grant because he said this and it really hit me. But they look at failure as a red light when they should look at failure as a green light, because everything that you do, if you don't fail at it, it's not really that great of a goal anyway. How have you had any failures that you've had to deal with that you could tell us about that you just pushed through, and how you made that goal happen by working through the failure?
Yeah, I feel like I fail all the time. I set a goal that I don't hit, or I have struggles or those kinds of things. I feel like that happens all the time. I can't think of, while I'm on the spot, a specific example of failing, but I've heard it said, you fail if you're not failing, you're not trying. And as a baseball player, we know probably better than anybody about failure, right? So, a very good very good hitter is only successful 3 out of 10 times, right? So, and so failure is a part of the game. It's part of life. Failure isn't the opposite of winning. Failure is a part of winning, right? So you have to go through the failures to get to the victories, and it's a really hard thing to learn.
Yeah, and I think that's why I love baseball so much. I've talked about that analogy multiple times on the things that I say, because it just teaches you that. I mean, it's a game of failure, and to fail, 7 out of 10 times and be successful, that's such a life lesson right there in itself.
Right.
So
totally.
That's awesome. So where does this bring you now? So you said you were a lawyer, and then you also have, is it called a Life app? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Life Super app. So the Life Leadership Company has been around since 2011. I got started after law school, so a few years back. They were mainly a financial and a leadership development company, but basically what they've done is they've taken all their content and everything and combined it into one app, and it's called the Super app. It's kind of a do-everything app, which is pretty awesome. Forbes magazine came out and at the end of last year, like in the fall of last year, and they said there's an article, you can actually Google this. Forbes magazine said that our super app's the future, and talked all about how there's going to be these all-in-one apps that are going to shape the way we do everything on our phones, because people are sick of an app for this, an app for that, an app for this. Everybody's got a million apps on their phone. So the super app concept is basically, let's take all of the best stuff, all of our best content, and let's combine it with coupons and discounts and cash back everywhere you shop, and you can book your travel and get all kinds of stuff. I mean, I could go on and on and on, and I don't think we have that kind of time, but yeah, I'm a part of this company that's developed this super app, and it is just absolutely blowing up. I mean, it is just taking off. So when businesses are hurting right now during this kind of crisis time that we're in, this is a business, it's a digital product, and it is absolutely blowing up right now. So it's really, really exciting. It's an exciting entrepreneurial venture for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's funny with a lot of things that are going on right now, that a lot of people hit that red light and they think that this is an opportunity to just take a vacation. And what really makes an entrepreneur right now is someone who is going after that in the time that they have, because now we have a little bit of extra time. Now we're at home if we're not at home, and we have all this time to keep pushing forward. So that's awesome that you're working on that. And
I love that. Keep pushing forward. I love that, Wes.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, for me, it's been a mental thing that it's been great that I've had a couple mentors lately that have talked to me about what I'm doing and how I can push myself forward. The hard part for me right now is I'm still pushing forward on everything I'm doing. It's just I'm running out of time, because you know how it is with an entrepreneurial mind. You can sit there and you can have five or six ideas and trying to do them all at once, and you got to figure out a way to narrow it down so that you can concentrate on one or two at a time instead of being crazy.
I understand so well. It's hard because, you know, being an attorney and doing that, and then having this other side venture just exploding on this, it's like, man, I don't have time to focus on both. But you gotta kind of pick your thing you're focused on, right? It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's been great talking to you. I have one last question here. Our show is called Shaping Success, and I really feel like you've done so much to shape your own success. The last question I usually ask is, how do you define success? And you know, we talk about how success is different for everyone. You know, for me, it's helping other people to find that, and that's kind of what the show is about. How would you define your success? What's the shape of your success?
Wow, that's an awesome question. I love that. Shaping success. How do you define success? Success is so different for everybody, right? Some people would say it's money, and some people it's having a nice car, nice house, all that stuff. But I kind of mentioned it earlier in the call. I would define success as living your purpose. You know, what are you here? We're all here on Earth for a reason, and what is it? Like we gotta figure that out, and we have to go after it, like you keep saying, and live our purpose. So that's how I would define it.
That's awesome. Pursuing your purpose. Well, Tyler, where can we find you? Do you do social media and all that stuff? Obviously, you're kind of in a digital group. Is there a place we can point people to come follow you?
I would say the main one that I'm on, I guess, is Facebook. I'm on some of the other platforms. Man, I'm not a good social media guy. I need to get with the times with these younger people. But yeah, I'm on Facebook, and people can reach out to me there through Messenger or whatever. But yeah, that's the main platform. Tyler Heid.
Well,
you have it on there. My name.
Yep. Yeah, your name's on there, and so it's Tyler Heid, and it's just Tyler Heid on Facebook.
Yeah, there you go. I think I'm on Instagram, but I rarely check it. I don't check it enough. So yeah, that's the main one, and I follow you guys on Aggressive too, so you can find me there too. I like awesome. What you and Christian and Jeff and you guys are doing. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been kind of a blessing for me to run into Christian. I coached with him last year, and Jeff takes really good care of us too. He's running the whole thing, and they are great people. So I'm glad to have them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So thank you again for being a guest. I really appreciate it.
Hey, yeah, thank you so much, Wes.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. I could really use your help with something. If you have found a little bit of value in this episode, please share it with someone. Go over to Apple Podcasts, give it a 5-star review. And also, I don't know if you know this or not, but I started a Patreon account. If you want to support the podcast and help me to get a little more gear to help produce it and get a little bit better look and everything like that for you, go ahead and support me there. Have a great afternoon, and I will challenge you to find the shape of your own success. Have a great day.
This was Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley, brought to you by Aggressive Marketing Solutions. If you need a team of marketers to help you with social media, all you need to do to start is text Wes 2020 to 541-709-6502, 541-709-6502. That is Aggressive Marketing Solutions. Have a great day. See you next time.